Have you noticed that the moment you wake up, you're already longing to return to bed? Maybe you glance at the clock, see it's mid-afternoon, and realize that despite a calm morning and a decent night's rest, you're completely drained. It isn't simply about getting older. Many people hit their 70s or beyond and still manage to greet the day with moderate energy and enthusiasm. So why are you feeling wiped out all the time? Exhaustion in your later years doesn't always have a single cause. More commonly, it's the result of several small issues. Nutritional, lifestyle, medical, that slowly chip away at your vitality. You might chalk it up to, that's just how it is. But there are usually underlying factors you can identify and fix. In this conversation, we'll explore 5 of the most common reasons seniors after 70 feel perpetually tired, plus straightforward tweaks that can help you reclaim your spark. By the end, you might see that your body isn't betraying you so much as sending signals that it needs a different kind of care. With a little determination and a willingness to experiment, you can often restore a surprising amount of energy and feel more like yourself again. Sometimes it begins with breakfast, or the lack of it. For many older adults, appetite changes are normal. You might no longer feel those morning hunger pangs you had in your 40s or 50s, so you skip breakfast or grab something minimal like toast and jam, or maybe just coffee. Trouble is, as you age, your body becomes more sensitive to nutrient deficiencies. If you start the day low on protein or essential vitamins, you can drift into a slump by mid-morning. Your muscles and brain crave a stable supply of fuel, particularly protein, B vitamins, healthy fats. But a weak breakfast can leave you running on fumes. Over the long term, consistent undereating or not eating nutrient-dense foods might also sap your iron levels, hamper your intake of magnesium or potassium, and ultimately contribute to a chronic sense of fatigue. The fix doesn't have to be huge. If eggs or heavier breakfasts feel like too much, a small bowl of oatmeal with nuts, seeds, or a dollop of yogurt can carry plenty of nutrients. Pair that with a piece of fruit or a bit of cottage cheese and you're starting your morning with a nutritional base. If appetite is an obstacle, consider splitting your morning meal into 2 lighter parts. Maybe a small portion when you first wake up, then a mid-morning snack. This approach can prevent that midday crash that leaves you wanting a nap far too early. Mindful breakfast choices won't make you wide awake in an instant, but they can consistently build your energy over weeks and months, anchoring your body's fuel supply. Another major culprit is dehydration. It might sound trivial, but thirst perception diminishes over time, and certain medications or conditions also spur fluid loss. Before you know it, you're living in a state of mild but chronic dehydration, which can manifest as fatigue, fuzzy thinking, or even irritability. You might think, but I'm not thirsty, so I must be fine, only to discover that your cells have been craving water for hours. Even a small deficit can slow circulation and reduce the body's efficiency in delivering oxygen and nutrients to tissues. If you're the sort of person who sips 1 small cup of tea in the morning and then forgets about fluids until dinner, consider spacing out your intake. Keep a water glass or bottle within easy reach. If plain water doesn't appeal, infused options with slices of citrus or cucumber can make it more enticing. Herbal teas or low-sugar fruit juices also contribute to hydration, but be mindful of added sugars. Don't overdo it by guzzling massive amounts at once. Too much can strain your kidneys or lead to frequent bathroom trips that disrupt the day. Aim for a steady trickle of fluids, noticing subtle improvements in alertness. Over time, you might find fewer headaches, less dryness in your mouth, and a lighter sense of well-being that helps you stay on your feet rather than wilting onto the couch. When you think of medication side effects, you might focus on dizziness or stomach upset, but a persistent drain on energy is another possible outcome. This is the 3rd big reason many seniors feel chronically tired. By the time you pass 70, it's not uncommon to have several prescriptions: blood pressure pills, cholesterol meds, pain relievers, or anything for anxiety or depression can subtly affect how your body manages daytime alertness. Some blood pressure medications, for instance, can lower your heart rate or cause mild sedation. Others might rob you of certain nutrients or provoke a slump in the afternoon. You might have accepted this as part of your health regimen, thinking you have no choice. But your doctor might be able to adjust dosages, switch you to another class of medication, or tweak when you take the pills so they don't overlap in a way that doubles their sedative effect. If you notice your worst fatigue hits soon after a morning pill, mention it at your next checkup. Medication interactions can also quietly sabotage your energy. One drug might amplify the side effects of another or reduce the absorption of a third. An annual or biannual medication review with a pharmacist or physician can reveal these interactions you didn't suspect. Sometimes simply shifting a dose from morning to bedtime is enough to reclaim a chunk of your energy during the day. If changing your regimen isn't possible, discuss strategies to counteract the fatigue. Maybe more targeted nutrition or mild physical activity to get the blood flowing. If all else fails, you might weigh whether a small medication trade-off is worth the energy you're losing, and decide with your doctor if continuing is truly the best option. The fourth reason often lurks in inactivity. If you're exhausted, it may feel counterintuitive to exercise. Why spend energy when you barely have any to start with? But ironically, gentle movement can replenish your reserves over time. When you stay mostly sedentary, sitting in a recliner, avoiding short walks, or skipping house tasks your body can handle, your muscles weaken and circulation slows. Lack of movement can hamper oxygen delivery to your tissues, making the simplest tasks feel harder. Day by day, you slip into a pattern where even modest exertions, like climbing a flight of stairs, drain you more than they should. That in turn convinces you you're too tired for exercise, creating a vicious cycle. Breaking that cycle doesn't require marathon efforts or heavy weights at the gym. Start small, maybe a 5-minute stroll in the morning, another 5 in the afternoon. If your joints protest, consider water-based exercises that reduce impact, or chair yoga that fosters gentle range of motion. The consistent daily dose of movement, even if minimal, gets your blood circulating and signals your muscles to stay alert. Over weeks, you might expand that 5-minute session to 10, then 15. Seniors who adopt mild but regular exercise routines often notice they tire less easily in everyday tasks, like carrying groceries or climbing stairs. And they also benefit from improved mood, which can translate to better overall energy. If physical limitations worry you, consult a doctor or physical therapist about adapted exercises. The goal isn't to push yourself to exhaustion, but to gently remind your body that it's meant for movement, encouraging a steady flow of energy rather than letting it stagnate. Finally, there's the issue of disrupted sleep patterns, a major if often overlooked cause of daytime fatigue. After 70, changes in melatonin production, or conditions like arthritis pain, prostate issues, or sleep apnea, can fragment your nights, leaving you short on the deeper stages of rest that truly restore your body. Maybe you awaken every couple of hours to use the bathroom, or your spouse's snoring disrupts your slumber. Some seniors fall asleep at 9:00 p.m., only to wake at 3:00 a.m. and toss until dawn, stuck in a half-sleep that does little to recharge them. You might seek out sleeping pills for relief. But these come with their own risks and can create morning drowsiness or dependence. Instead, consider an approach called good sleep hygiene. That means dimming lights in the evening to encourage natural melatonin release, keeping electronics out of the bedroom or at least shutting them off well before bedtime, and ensuring your sleep space is quiet, cool, and inviting. If frequent bathroom trips are the culprit, adjusting fluid intake in the evening or speaking to your doctor about bladder management can help. Addressing pain with better pillows, a new mattress, or a revised medication schedule can reduce nighttime waking. Some older adults also benefit from a brief midday rest, though not too late in the day, if it doesn't sabotage their nighttime sleep. If you suspect sleep apnea is stealing your rest, a sleep study might reveal breathing interruptions that you can address with a CPAP machine or other remedies. The shift from superficial, broken sleep to deeper, consistent rest can be a game changer for your daily energy. You may discover that your morning brain fog lifts and your muscle fatigue diminishes just from achieving 2 or 3 more hours of undisturbed slumber. Now, you might think implementing these changes is easier said than done, especially if you've been exhausted for months or years. It's tempting to throw up your hands and accept constant fatigue as part of aging. But if you address these 5 areas, breakfast and nutrition, hydration, medication side effects, daily movement, and sleep hygiene, you'll likely find that at least a couple of them ring true to your circumstances. Start with whichever feels most pressing. Maybe that's scheduling a doctor's appointment to review your medications, or deciding to add a high-protein option to your breakfast each day. Or you might pick a short, gentle walk to incorporate into your morning routine. Each step you take can unravel a bit of the fatigue cycle. Don't overwhelm yourself by tackling all 5 at once. A phased approach often feels more manageable and yields steady improvement. For instance, you might spend 2 weeks diligently adjusting your hydration and paying attention to how you feel. Then move on to investigating whether your sleeping environment needs an overhaul or if you have untreated sleep apnea. It's also important to note that other underlying health issues, such as thyroid dysfunction, anemia, or chronic inflammatory conditions, might be contributing to your fatigue. So if you make these lifestyle tweaks and still feel chronically worn down, do push for a thorough medical check, including blood tests. There's no shame in pressing your healthcare provider for answers. Sometimes you need a B12 injection if absorption is poor, or an iron supplement if labs reveal anemia. You might also find that mild depression, which seniors sometimes experience without realizing, can sap energy day in and day out. In that case, addressing mood through counseling or an appropriate medication can open the door to renewed physical vitality. The main point is that endless fatigue is rarely an unsolvable mystery. More often, it's a combination of a few straightforward issues that, once recognized, can be mended. As you make changes, track your progress in a simple notebook or on a calendar. Jot down how you slept, what you ate, your water intake, any exercise you managed, and how fatigued you felt at mid-morning or early evening. Look for patterns. Perhaps you notice that on days you walk for 10 minutes after lunch, you feel less lethargic in the afternoon. Or maybe certain meds cause an energy dip around 2 p.m. that you can offset with a healthy snack or a short rest. This record keeps you from relying on memory alone, which can be tricky when day after day feels similar. Once you see real improvements, maybe you're going to bed less frustrated or waking with more get up and go, you'll have proof that small, consistent efforts are paying off. That can be incredibly motivating when the old pattern tries to creep back in. If you're comfortable sharing your changes, lean on supportive friends, family, or a community group. Sometimes a walking buddy or a neighbor who also wants to eat better can keep you accountable. They might remind you to bring water on your short walk, or tip you off to easy, protein-rich breakfast ideas. And if you have trouble adjusting your home environment for better sleep or mobility, a younger relative or friend could help rearrange furniture or pick up a small humidifier or blackout curtains that improve your rest. The synergy of your own commitment and a helping hand can jumpstart a new routine. Over time, you might even inspire other seniors around you who've been living with quiet exhaustion, believing it was an inevitable part of aging. In essence, feeling tired all the time after 70 doesn't have to be your norm. Yes, your body changes, and you might not bound out of bed each day like you did decades ago. But by examining your eating patterns, especially breakfast, ensuring consistent hydration, reviewing medication side effects, adding gentle daily movement, and safeguarding your nights for deeper sleep, you may rediscover reserves of energy you'd written off as gone. Occasionally, additional medical follow-up is needed, but in many cases, addressing these 5 areas lifts a heavy veil from your daily life. You may see differences in how you talk, walk, and handle small tasks you'd been avoiding. If your ankles no longer feel like lead weights, or your mind can focus on a conversation without drifting, you're on the right track. Naturally, no single strategy works perfectly for everyone. Your physical limitations, dietary restrictions, or personal schedules might require adaptations. Start where you can. Even partial improvement in one category can yield enough extra energy to tackle the next. If your joints hurt, tailor the exercise approach to swimming or chair-based routines. If you struggle with dryness in your mouth, flavoring your water lightly might encourage you to drink more. If you're on multiple medications, politely insist your doctor or pharmacist do a comprehensive check for interactions. The difference these adjustments make can be remarkable. Think of it as shining a light into corners of your daily routine that have been left in the dark for too long. And once you taste that renewed spark, maybe you realize you can stand at the kitchen counter cooking without resting every 5 minutes. Celebrate it. Often, we notice only the big leaps and ignore small victories. Let each minor boost remind you that your efforts matter. Commemorate walking an extra block, sleeping an hour longer without interruption, or getting through a day without that crushing afternoon slump. These milestones build into a more vibrant picture of life past 70, where you're not constantly trading your day for the couch. While age inevitably changes some things, the feeling of perpetual fatigue shouldn't be a given. The better you understand its causes and chip away at them, the more those quiet hours can be replaced with purposeful activity, laughter, or at least a calmer sense of presence. So if you've been nodding along thinking, yes, I am dog-tired and never knew why, take heart. Start with a pen and paper or a short conversation with your doctor. Ask yourself whether your breakfast is enough to sustain the day, whether your fluid intake is half what it should be, or if your meds might be sapping your energy. Try a brief walk tomorrow, even if it's just to the mailbox and back a few times. Examine your sleep environment tonight. Are the lights too bright, or the room too warm, or your pillow too high? It may take trial and error, but the payoff is a day that doesn't feel like a slog from one nap to the next. You could wind up with a lighter mood and a sense that these later years still hold potential for activity and joy, rather than exhaustion. You deserve that clarity and vitality, so give these fixes a chance. If you're patient and persistent, you just might start springing out of bed. Well, at least more willingly. Ready to greet the day without that constant weight on your eyelids.